Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Creators Lounge podcast. As always, I'm your host, Ben Jaye, and this is a super cool episode because this is the first time that a guest is making a second appearance on the show. So I hope everyone gives a warm welcome to Ice Cream Cold. My man, give us the introduction. What is your name? Where are you from? What do you do?
I'm Ice Cream Cold or Riley. You can call me whatever. What's your name? I'm just a beat maker. I'm so bad at talking. Disclaimer.
Oh man. But dude, it's great to have you back. And the last time you were was on the show, September 23rd, 2018. So we're moving into it's been like a year and a half since the last time you were here. Give us a quick rundown. What has happened since that time until now?
Yes. So a ton of stuff has happened. But it's all relative, it's all crazy. Life is really crazy right now, I bet, for especially a lot of people. So I not only going outside of just beat making stuff. Actually, let's start there. I've done a ton of work. I've released 3 albums, including this one we're going to talk about today, 3 projects, and some other singles and stuff. I made a Smash Brothers dedicated album. I don't know if that I did that before. I'm pretty sure I did that before this one. That was in between. And I played a beat competition in Seattle that was sold out. That was pretty cool. I didn't win it, but I was at it. I started playing a bunch of shows around Bellingham and Seattle. And with a few people I know, we started a band called Hockey Teeth, and we actually recently played at this battle of the bands called Sounds of the Underground. It was like a couple months, and we won the whole thing, which is pretty crazy. We got some, which is pretty cool. The prizes included like playing at a couple festivals. The only problem is the festivals got canceled thanks to pandemic and stuff. So that's crazy, but there's a whole bunch of stuff going on.
So much stuff going on. That's fantastic to hear. Congratulations on winning the competition, by the way. That is super awesome. So you've just been adding a bunch of stuff to like your resume and like your experience and just building and stuff. Dude, it's fantastic. Yeah. So how do you feel about everything though? Because you have done so much since the last time we talked on the podcast. And do you feel like are you feeling good about everything, or how do you feel right now?
Yeah. It's kind of funny because I really just feel the same. Like in not like I don't feel like I've progressed. I feel like I've progressed, but it's not like I'm here and I want to and this is it. Like of course I want to do more and set my goals even higher or set new goals, but I just want to keep working, and I'm generally happy with where I am though too. Like if this is all I did, like pretty sweet.
Yeah, man. No, I totally get it. I think for us as creators, like it never ends. Like there's always something new to create. There's always a new feeling to express or an idea we want to build on. So, and I'm so glad to hear you are enjoying it. You are happy with it, because it's easy to be dissatisfied, with where you are. A lot of people, get stuck in that trap where it's like, oh, I don't have enough listeners, enough followers, enough comments or whatever, But I think it's so important to, like you and me are both doing, play the long game, and just enjoy every step of the process, appreciate what we have done, and then keep putting in work for the next step. So today we're going to focus on the newest album. So I want to rewind. Do you remember when you started planning and thinking about making this album specifically?
Yes. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. It wasn't like, all right, I'm going to make a new project just from the get-go. I just probably like most producers, just started making some beats, and I had probably like 5 or 6 songs, and I'm like, okay, or beats, whatever. And some people really like to distinguish the difference between songs and beats.
I was going to ask you about that, to give us a quick, I think some of the audience might not be familiar with it. What is the difference between a song and a beat, and how do you feel about that?
Yeah, so to me, really it's all the same, but maybe for the people I know who like to distinguish them, a beat probably is really focused on something rhythmic, and probably if we're talking about maybe like stereotypes or something, probably not as like emotionally interesting. It's more just like something, you know, to dance to, and or something to like enjoy for a moment and then be done. You use it for a purpose and it's gone. Where a song kind of tells a story to some people.
Okay.
I think it's all the same. I think you can tell a story with a beat, but
yeah, no, makes sense. Okay, so you're in the studio. You've got about 5 or 6 beats that you're working on, and then what starts coming together in your mind? Like, oh, I should put these together on an EP, or
yeah. So I started, like, okay, I got some stuff. I got some rough drafts. This is pretty sweet. From here, I want to start, like planning something else. So the first thing I did is I paid an artist to make the album art that's on there. I paid the artist, and it was like a sizable amount of money. Definitely, like, at least it was like $200.
Okay, yeah. Well, thanks for mentioning that, because I think it's important for a lot of artists to hear that, younger artists who haven't quite got into like putting time into making album art and paying people to do it. But it's kind of a necessary step, especially the more you move up and the more you want to do with the project, you know?
Yeah.
So, but the album art itself is a beautiful, beautiful picture.
Yeah.
So, good work to the artist and to you as well.
Yeah.
Did you like sketch out a rough draft of how you wanted it to look, or like how did you design the album cover?
Yeah, first off, shout out, I hope I don't butcher their name, but on Instagram it's at weasel.jfifth. I have her linked all over my Instagram.
And I'll link it on this episode as well.
Obviously. So. Yeah, amazing artist. They did an amazing job. Basically we just emailed back and forth, and I sent some pictures that I thought was kind of like the vibe I wanted described, and basically they would just send me all these pictures back and forth, and I was with it like the whole process, which is kind of like intimidating, and because I'm not a visual artist. I don't know what to do, but it was nice though, because I got to give a lot of feedback and I got exactly what I wanted, so I was really happy with that. And that's what like decided the rest of my album making process.
I see.
Was having that to like look back to, all right, this is a real thing, now I'm going to work on this, instead of just make more beats just for whatever.
Right. That's how interesting. I like that. It's cool. Yeah, no, like you said, like it can be intimidating, but communication is so important on any kind of relationship, business or personal or whatever. And so especially for something like album art, because you want it to represent exactly what you have in your mind. And so working with someone to create that vision, you've got to communicate about it. But yes, album art came out incredible. Album is called Monsoon. Tell us about the idea behind that.
So, it's kind of funny. There's a couple reasons why I picked that, but it wasn't the initial title. It wasn't like, this is what it's going to be called. There was a couple names. I have some demos that I gave out to my friends where it was called like Hidden Sea or something, and some other names. So there's some like, shitty demos out in the world of this album that like, under different names. But Monsoon, actually, initially, I got the idea because I've been playing this video game called Risk of Rain 2, and the hardest difficulty is called Monsoon. This is a stupid little shout out, but
awesome.
That's where I got it initially, and there were many other reasons why I stuck with it, because I wanted ultimately this to be about my experience. I'm finishing up college right now. This is my last quarter. Really weird last quarter to finish on, but so I wanted to kind of be like a pseudo senior project to finish it out. That's why it has a lot more tracks than my other things, and I spent a lot of time working on it and thinking about it.
Makes sense, man. No, I love it. I think it's interesting as well. I think that video games have been like a big influence for you over the years.
Dude,
Guessing that just for like the Smash Bros EP you did, and like Monsoon right here, it's really cool. It's interesting to hear the stuff behind the scenes like this, because obviously for someone, if they see the word Monsoon, like they wouldn't immediately associate it with a video game.
Definitely.
But like, you start talking about it and you kind of learn more about the character behind it all. Okay, so I wanted to ask you another thing before we talked about the song specific, the individual tracks. You had like about 5 or 6 songs, decided to do an entire album. Once you decided to do an entire album, did you start thinking more about like storyline, or did you just keep making tracks like you normally do?
Yeah, so I definitely did not think about a storyline sort of thing, but I more thought about what what I kind of wanted as like a vibe, or like what sounds fun to make. Like I would, I've never made a beat in 3/4. Like let's try doing something. I want to do something like that. And I had some general like music theory like guidelines and some other holes I wanted to fill, and that's how I would pick out the other tracks to fit. I think a storyline would be cool, but yeah, I wasn't looking for that in this.
Yep, makes sense. Okay, and you mentioned about doing new stuff, like doing beats in 3/4. You've also did some really cool tempo changes on the tracks on the album. So let's go ahead and jump into the album and the songs individually. First song on the album is Rob Wildheart, and it's a later track called Jen the Endless. Is there any special meaning behind the names, or did you just come up with them off the top?
No. Yeah,
I'm gonna call this song Rob Wildheart, whatever that means.
So those are actually my parents' first names. Which is kind of funny. I don't know how many people will do that, but one thing I really like about lo-fi, and maybe just beats in general, mostly lo-fi though, is it can be really like sentimental. And so I started a while ago. I have a few other songs called Aaron and Ben, which are two of my cousins that we were just really close friends. And so with the title thing, like their name and then comma title, another game thing, this isn't a video game, but the card game Magic the Gathering, they have like these characters, and like they're called like planeswalkers, and they have like titles after them. So I thought it was really cool how they're like, say one of them's like Jace the Mind Sculptor. There's also like other titles for the same character though, and it's like a different card. So I was just like fucking around. I was just like thinking it'd be kind of funny or like cool if I thought of like different titles like that, something comma, and then like, what do you think like a snapshot of this person would be like? And so I decided I'm going to start making beats and just naming them after people. It's also like a ton of stress making, maybe not a ton, but more than a normal beat, because you want it to like, you obviously like you want to show them and you want them to like enjoy it. None of these people listen to beats, so
so the bar is extremely low.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not expecting anything.
Exactly. It's wild. Yeah.
How did they react though? Did you actually show your mom and dad the tracks, or?
Definitely. Yeah. No, and they like it. They're generally supportive. But yeah, like they don't really know what to look for, and they're kind of like, all right, like it's pretty cool.
That's cool, son. All right.
Yeah,
fantastic, man. No, it's really cool. It's really, really cool because, like you said, like lo-fi is a very emotional and moody kind of genre, and so that have that kind of tribute to someone you love and care about. It's a really cool way to express your love. Now, in this track, Rob, I mentioned before about tempo changes. Rob the Wildheart is that track with the tempo changes within it. Where did the idea for that come from, and was it hard to walk into the track?
Yeah, so part of it was just like wanting to do something. Like I knew I wanted to do that song is in the tempo change part is in 3/4 and the rest of it 4/4. And I knew I wanted to speed up during that tempo change part. That's partly because just like kind of a storyline ahead, like I wanted the sections to be really distinct because I thought my dad has two really distinct characteristics about him. He's like this fun dude, but also some of his sometimes when he's hanging out with his buddies, they can like really jab at him and make fun of him. So, I don't know, maybe like thinking about that. And so I wanted to have these distinct sections, and tempo changes I thought was like a really good way to make it very distinct from the other part.
Dude, that's really cool. Really cool.
Thanks.
No, it's awesome because it's true, like you said, that I think there's some stuff I've noticed for myself that I'll do subconsciously in my art or my content, and then later I go back and unpack it and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is because of this. This is because of this.
Yeah.
Like with your dad's personality and everything, it's the same thing too.
It's fun to it's fun to do it. Sometimes it's me just fucking around, and then later, that's what was the case for this. But other times it's like, I should do something because of that. Yeah. It's fun to tie things together in general, I think.
It is, man. Give stuff meaning and character. Yeah, for sure. What about for the track Jen the Endless? Was there anything special about that one that related back to like your mom's personality or who you are as a person? So that one was mostly because that track I played out on my keyboard completely by myself, and it was part of it was I see my mom as someone who like
get shit done or something. And like I had written a piece, like the melody and harmony and everything, instead of like, starting from a bass or anything or using samples. And then part of it was, I don't know, just the melody just reminded me. It's something I can't explain almost.
Yeah, that's really cool though. All right, so the next track I want to talk about is Saita. Saita is, as long as I'm pronouncing it correctly, kind of gave me some New Jabez vibes on that one. I'm not sure what it was, but it did. Talk to us about that idea. Where did it come from and everything?
First off, thanks. That's a huge compliment. New
Dude, no, for real.
Jabez. I never know how to pronounce that. But yeah, he's super influential and an amazing artist. But yeah, so with that track, I was actually trying to think about. It's a lot of this just starts from just fucking around making beats.
Sure.
That one specifically though is a really important, and this is what I want to talk about that track. Is a really important focus on drums because there's like a drum solo in the beginning, and there's some weird like pattern things. I don't know. Basically, I just wanted to say like I really try to focus on drums a lot sometimes, and by that I mean like specific patterns. I'm by no means a drum expert, but I think I have some friends who will say like drums are overrated. Like drums, I don't want to use drums in this song, or like drums. They even as far as like dislike them, and I think they're, in my opinion, I think drums are often overlooked and possibly an very underrated instrument in my opinion. I don't know though for sure, but because they only have they can only make a certain sound. They can only make a certain amount of sounds. There's no pitches. Like, you can't tell a story. Some people think. But yeah, I think they're overlooked, and I think you can by really honing in, especially in production, because we're so used to I'll just put a kick in the one and then put a snare, the whatever 2 or 3 and 4. You can just get into this rhythm of just making similar drums on a lot of tracks. So that's my challenge to any producer watching this: is just go nuts with drums. Just do something crazy.
That's a good challenge, man. That's a good challenge as well. I mean, I think for lo-fi, the beat aspect of that, the drum beat aspect is really important for carrying the track. It's funny, I kind of relate to what your friends say about disliking drums, at least in my younger years, because I felt like they were so monotonous, it was
Exactly.
a little bit hard to listen to. Every single song always has to have a beat, and so I kind of like the other side of it as well, where you can make a song with no drums, and the kind of cool stuff you can do with that. But like you said, as I've gotten older though, there's a lot to appreciate in drums, especially seeing some of the great drum artists from throughout times. Personal favorite is from the band X Japan, the artist Yoshiki, and he's a really talented drummer. So I love watching his performances. I was kind of like, oh damn, I was drums were actually pretty sick. But yeah, no, like you said, it's important to innovate and kind of explore new things with drums. We'll jump to the next one, Minas Tirith or Minas Tirith. Reference to J.R.R. Tolkien, is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, And it's also the shortest song on the album. Why the reference to Tolkien, and what kind of influence has Tolkien had on you in your life?
Yeah, so, I mean, I've watched all the movies. I've read The Hobbit, I've read The Fellowship of the Ring, and The Two Towers, and I have The Return of the King, and I've read through part of it. Haven't finished it yet. All great books. I just really enjoy it. The thing for me that I feel most about The Lord of the Rings and J.R.R. Tolkien is it kind of has that same, what do I want to say, use, or the use for me is when I'm sick and I'm stuck in bed. I'm always watching The Rings. It's my comfort movie. Yeah. I don't know why, but that sort of thing. Or if I need to recuperate. But it's kind of a similar thing to beats and lo-fi music for people. That's their recuperate music. Maybe it's not the exact thing, but to me it's in use. Yeah. So I associate them together kind of way. But in that track, even though it's really short, which is this is really short and ends really fast. Is this really a beat? Really a song? Should you put it on this? The thing with it for me is actually, I tried a really weird technique where I took a drum loop that I got from this vinyl break record I sampled, and the drummer from my band that I've been playing with, Hockey Teeth, I had him come in and play over it, and then I mixed the two together. So it's kind of like and the drums are actually really weird. I hope that no one can tell that it's like at the point where it just sounds like one drum, but it's actually like a real drummer and then vinyl drums from like this record together. Yeah, so it's really weird, but it's just this short track.
Dude, that's so cool. Yeah, if you hadn't told me that, I wouldn't have noticed it. I'm gonna go back now and like listen for that carefully because that's so cool. It's interesting like how many small details like that can be lost to the general audience whenever a song gets put out,
Definitely.
you know. Whereas to us as musicians, like we know like the backstory, we know the project file, we know exactly what everything is, you know. So
exactly. And I think that's the fun of it, is just spending so much time focusing on these details that ultimately no one's gonna notice, or some people might notice, some people might watch us and then go back and notice. But it's just fun for me to do that, to dig these, to plant these seeds that someone might find, but it's just planting the seed that's fun to me. I don't know.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. No, because here's the way I think about stuff is that things have the meaning that we give to it. And so it's the same way like with our music, like we give our music meaning and stories and value, and so it becomes important to us. And because it's important to us, other people can vibe with it as well because they can see that kind of authenticity in the track. That's beautiful. I love that. And it's also a big reason why I wanted to sit down with you and do it like this, because like lately with a lot of my producer friends, like we've been talking about like our project files and everything that's hidden within them. And I'm like, guys, like no one knows about this because we're not talking about it on social, So I wanted to sit down with people more these days and kind of dig into their tracks and really break it down and everything, because there's so many stories buried in there that people totally miss, Also, I want to ask you one more thing, Riley, about the length of a track, because like we talked about already, Minas Tirith is like the shortest track on the album. Do you think about like song length whenever you're producing? Because obviously, like for people who are looking to make top 40 or like EDM tracks, like they always have to be at least 3 minutes long, 4 minutes long. Whereas for the beat community, it's usually shorter, a minute, 2 minutes. There's a lot of debate over like how long a song should be. Where do you fall on that conversation?
If you would have asked me this question 7 years ago or 5 years ago, maybe, I would have said, 6 minutes. That's what it has to be, 6 minutes or longer. But as I've gotten older and progressed, I basically don't think of it as like I need to make, because a good point you were saying is beats is a lot of the time they're shorter, and seeing all these other people, my peers, making beats, they're so short, and a lot of my favorite beats are short, and then I just repeat it a lot. So it's like an added benefit. And I have a really big fear of making something super long, and then people getting bored, which is fine. The album is on one track on SoundCloud, which is 40 minutes, so very quickly can get bored of that. I don't think of it as much when I'm making a beat, especially as what time should I try to hit. I think of it more as like, what sections should I go into? What would be fun to me? So if I think like, I could add another section, even though this is only a minute long and I probably should, I don't think it needs it. I think there's a beginning and an end here, and I think it's good, and then I just leave.
Yeah.
But if I think it's unfinished, like I felt like repetitive or wasn't interesting enough to me, then I'm gonna add something and make it longer.
It's great, man. It's great. No, I agree with you. I think that I felt a lot more kind of judgment about it in my early days as a producer, thinking that songs had to be a certain length. As I've become more confident in my own sound and doing what I want to do, like I've kind of just embraced like, no, this is my song and I'm gonna make it long or short depending on, like you said, the need of the song, whether it needs to be longer or shorter, And it's been especially like encouraging, I think, to see more and more songs be shorter. Poor example, but the rapper 6ix9ine, like a lot of his songs were only like 2 minutes long, and so to see people from different genres jumping on and having like shorter tracks, it's kind of like, it's like, yes, I wanted this, embrace the shortness. But like you said earlier, like you talked about like lo-fi being emotional. I think that like the mood or the power of a song doesn't depend on the length of the song. Like you can make just as big of an impact in a 1 minute long song as you can like in a 6 minute song. different for every track. All right,
Definitely.
the next song on the album is Home. Home is the next one. It's got incredible sound effects, really cool percussion, low pass filters. It's a standout track. Was it representing like going home, the cozy feeling of home? Like, what was kind of the inspiration behind that one and the name?
Yeah. So that one started from a motif, actually. I had been playing the intro song on keyboard of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time a bunch. It actually has a small snippet of the melody. If you play it back, there's one part. See if you can catch it if you're familiar with it. But so mostly about the cozy feeling, because I associate that video game with being at home a lot. I played it a ton in my childhood, so that's that track. That's pretty much all I can say.
That's
it's
awesome.
Just yeah.
Zelda is timeless, man. Zelda is a classic game.
Yep.
And Ocarina of Time, beautiful song. It's so cool to be able to take those songs from like old video game soundtracks and to use them in modern day music as well.
Yeah.
I know a big one for me that I still listen to. I haven't got to use it myself, but it's one of my favorite video game songs, the Sticklebush Symphony from Donkey Kong Land 2. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would know it, but
if you heard it, yeah, you'd recognize it for sure. It's one of the iconic songs. Like so many of those game soundtracks in the '90s, like it's childhood for us. We hear it and we go back to childhood. We go back to home. We go back to a certain space and time. It's awesome that you were able to use it in your tracks nowadays.
Nice.
Okay, next one is Oyasumi Nasai. The vocal sample. Where did the vocal sample come from?
So it's this short film. I remember I was hunting because I just wanted someone saying that. I just wanted saying, good night in Japanese. But I couldn't find it anywhere. I couldn't find it in the style I wanted.
Yeah.
So it was this horror short film or something. I don't know if it was horror, but it was a short film. I couldn't find it. I couldn't tell you where it was. I tried to look for it before this podcast, but I couldn't.
You couldn't find it? How interesting. It disappeared off the internet. That's so cool.
I think it might have been on the Internet Archive. I don't know if you're familiar with that website, but
of course.
Yeah. I think it might have been on there or something, but I don't know where it is. Yeah,
that's wild.
If you find it,
someone needs to had to start the search now. No, it's really cool. You were able to pull it from that short film, and now it's gone forever. We don't even know where it came from. It's even more mysterious in some sense. Also, the strings and the guitars, if I can ask, was that a sample as well, or was that original? The strings and guitars.
Yeah, there was.
Okay.
It's this Bossa Nova record I have. I like to do a lot of my samples from vinyl. I have a turntable. But yeah, I don't remember it. Honestly, a lot of my records I'll get the free bin at this record store. Yeah, near my house in Bellingham at college. Yeah.
That's cool. No,
I
understand. Like for like getting a sample like that, you get the sample, you chop it up, you put it on your hard drive, and you use it later on, so you don't recall it specifically. Exactly. How often do you do like sample ripping and stuff like that? As far as like getting a record and taking the sample off of it, do you do it like on a regular basis, or only like when you're looking to make a new song?
Usually only when I'm looking to make a new song. So what I'll usually do though is before I use it to make a song, I'll try to get like a bunch going. And just get them on there just so I have a bunch for later. And then sometimes I don't even need to. Like, I have a bunch already, so.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, usually in those situations, it's more of a, you get as many as you can, and then you can just choose the amount of ones you need. I was talking with a friend yesterday about recording Sound Folly for one of his tracks, and so he said he spent like 3 hours recording like maybe 50 or 60 minutes of sound effects, and then he only used like 2 or 3 minutes of the actual sound effects. So it's just the way it is, like with sampling, that kind of thing. Okay, so I'm really excited about to talk about the next one. It's possibly my favorite track on the album, Nevada. Whole album is phenomenal, but Nevada specifically, that one jumped out to me whenever I was listening the first time, and I still go back and listen to it. I don't know, something about like the sample on there, the rhythm, like everything just pulls me into the track. I really love it. Talk to us about the creative process behind that one.
Yeah, so it's the same sample as Oyasumi Nasai. Not the exact same chops, but the same song. But that song is funny because I made that completely off my laptop in a car, and we were in Nevada. Yeah,
what?
I was in a car. Yeah, I added some things later, and I'm I had it mixed and mastered and stuff. but yeah, the initial like beat and the whole most of it was made like during this drive.
Dude, that's
That's
awesome. How many hours were you in the car driving?
oh, we were driving from Las Vegas to Seattle,
Oh
so
my.
it was like
So you
17
had
hours.
time. You had time.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so cool. And were you playing the audio like out loud, or did you like put your headphones on and start walking
I had
by
my
it?
headphones on. Yeah.
All right, man, that's so cool. That
Me
makes me love
too,
the song
yes.
even more now. Actually, to know that story behind it, it's gonna make it even more special to listen to.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, it's hard to make music on the road. A little bit, like the bumps and stuff on the road is kind of
Definitely. Oh, yeah, it was crazy.
That's
It's
really
fun.
cool. All right, next one. The use of filters repetition on Say are super remarkable. Like all the elements of that song. Also, some pretty strong 70s vibes. I got 70s vibes. I don't know about you, but I kind of got some 70s vibes from that one. What about
Yeah.
this? Is there a story behind this one?
Yeah. So I'm really good friends with this producer, Barnes Boulevard. He lives really close to me.
Phenomenal
up,
producer, by the way. You guys should check him out.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. So we had like just like we do like rhythm roulette competitions, just like they do on like YouTube and stuff, where we have like random samples. And so that was one that we got these samples. Also, Harbor Day is another artist that does it. Harbor Day's partner made like a CD playlist, and we had to use only songs off that CD. For everything, the drums, the sample, like we couldn't have any external sounds except for from the CD.
Oh my gosh.
That was that, and we only had an hour to make it. So that song was made in less than an hour, and it's really like kind of like rough around the edges because I kind of just like squashed it like with a compressor and just like used crazy effects. But it's honestly out of most of the tracks on there, it's one of my favorites, which is why I kept it. Just partly because it was like a good experience doing that rhythm roulette thing, and then also just because I just like it. I don't know. I can't explain.
Yeah,
It's random.
dude, that's so cool though. Made in under an hour, unbelievable. And that's another point as well that comes up, I think, in the music scene. Is one of them is like about the length of the song. Other one is about how long it takes to make a song. And a lot of people like to kind of flex and stuff about like, oh, I spent 200 hours on this track, whatever. But
Yeah.
like in this case right here, like spending an hour on a track, you can make something that's pretty super cool. I mean, I know I've done a track in one day. I don't know about an hour. That's pretty intense.
It was pretty fast.
Pretty
Yeah.
intense, but I have remembered before I was in like some kind of beat competition with my friends, and the beat that I made, I later on ended up releasing it. So
Nice.
it's really
Yeah.
cool to do that kind of those kind of projects with your friends. Get together and make something, because some beautiful stuff can come out of it for sure.
Definitely.
Gonna jump to the next track. Next track is called
Yeah.
Past. This one was interesting to me because the way that you did the sampling was very reminiscent of Pogo, the artist Pogo. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him.
I don't think so. Yeah.
He does like on YouTube. He's famous for doing like the Disney mashups, where he'll cut clips from
Oh,
Disney
okay.
movies and then like make a song out of
I'll
the
check
clips
it out.
from it. So
Yeah.
he's from South Africa, cool dude. What is the sample? What is the sample on that track, if you remember?
So actually, because I really liked how Say ended up a while back. That song was made early 2019. Say the beat. So it inspired the rest of this project a lot. But Say was sampled from an indie rock song, which I didn't really look to for samples too much.
Sure.
And so that's what Past, and later we're going to talk about Moon Eyes, which those were both sampled from indie rock songs. I don't remember the names of them. I could find them, I bet, if I look through my computer.
It's so cool though, indie rock, to kind of blend genres like that, going from indie rock to the kind of music that you make. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Was it hard to work with that, or is it fairly easy once you got into the studio?
Yeah, it's easier than people think. Easier than most would think. When you start chopping things up to their little bits, which is how I like to make beats. I like to chop them up instead of using like a loop. I just like to, just cut it up like crazy and make it unrecognizable. It doesn't really matter too much. Like, you'd be surprised. Like, some weird genres, some 70s jazz fusion start to sound a lot more like indie rock when you start cutting.
You could have done a small bit. No, it's true. And when you get stuff down to like the very small bits of it, like it becomes really malleable, and you can kind of adjust it for whatever kind of sound you're making. It's interesting that people who do sampled music, like there's not a lot of diversity in the samples in some sense. You know, we generally stick
Yeah.
to stuff from like the 70s or 80s instrumental
Yeah.
stuff. But, you know, I know that for myself, I even sampled a song that's like super recent from like the last 5 years. It's like kind of this indie folk song. And so like there is so much that we can do if we kind of open our horizons a little bit and experimented more, like you said, like just like chopping something down to like the bare minimum and then pulling something out of it. Like it's very possible.
Yeah.
Also, the name of the song, Past, is that like talking about like your past or something else? How do you feel about
That
your
song-
past, looking back?
I think I've had a good pass mostly.
Mostly.
Yeah. The song is mostly just because I really liked how the sample, like I cut up the words saying past a lot. So it's just like
Yeah.
simple
Yeah.
song. People can remember that's okay, this is that. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
exactly. Yeah, it just makes sense from the song lyrics, exactly, for sure. Teal Telepath, that's like a classic Ice Cream Cult song right there. Like when I heard it, I was like, okay, this is classic. This is Riley's classic sound right here. You know, it's got the jazzy R&B backing, it's got some synths on top, the hip hop style beat. It's all very, 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 very Ice Cream Cult. Does the color teal have a special meaning to you?
So that's funny. I really like that color. I actually wouldn't consider it my favorite color, but I really enjoy it. Yeah. Weird, controversial opinion. Yeah, no, I just thought that was a cool name that just popped in my head.
Yeah.
The reason why I think it's kind of similar to me, I don't know, or the meaning for me and the beat is it has this like glidey, like my friends call it a G-funk synth. That's in most of the song, and it just made me think about like, I don't know, just like wizards and telekinetic people. So that's the inspiration behind that song. Also, that song is the first time I tried experimenting with making a track that never has a repeating section. So everything just goes to something else. Like it just keeps evolving until it ends. I don't know if that's necessarily considered through composed, but like somewhat in that vein. Because a lot of people will be like, oh, beats are so repetitive. So that's like, I kind of like making songs as answer to people's statements. I think, you've been showing me these tracks, but a lot of them, like, they're so repetitive. And then I'll be like, well, listen to this. And they're like, oh shit, yeah, that answered that my question.
Yep.
So it's fun to experiment with stuff.
That's awesome.
Cover whatever you think. What am I trying to say? Cover what you think people are gonna, what's the word? Criticize you for it. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Dude, that's so cool. No, it's really interesting, and I think that you did that really, really well on this album. Everything from like this track right here to the super short track before, like the 3/4 rhythm and the other track, like you kind of went all over the place, touching on all the bases. So well done on that. The next track, super curious about this one. Rake. Rake is the name of the song. Like immediately when I saw the name Rake, I was like, this is a cool beat. I was like, what is this song? I was like, Rake. It's like, okay. Like, I'm curious about that. Like, it's a good song too. Like, it got like the rain ambience at the beginning. It got some EDM influence a little bit reminiscent of Flume, some of Flume stuff, a little bit reminiscent of that. So I gotta know if it's like if there's any special reason for the name and like what's the inspiration for the track on that one.
I was really inspired by the song "Warm Thoughts." I think.
Yeah.
It's called by Flume. Is the similar like piano vibe? Yeah. So I'm really glad you heard.
Okay.
That.
All right. No, I noticed it. I didn't want to like just be like oh, this is the same thing, but I was like there's some same vibe right there.
Yeah.
That's epic.
That was awesome. I also sampled myself in that. I was just fucking around on my piano. My parents have a piano, and so I recorded myself playing piano, and that's all the samples for that song. Because I didn't really have a good miking technique, and it's kind of weird. Like, I was really iffy about that beat actually making it, because to me, like the whole time working, oh, this sounds like shit. It's never gonna work. But in the end, I was like, I made it. I enjoy it. Like, it's fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. There are some other tracks that didn't make the cut for other reasons too, which is funny.
If you were to put a number on it, how many tracks did you make that didn't make the cut? Just like
I think there was
estimation.
About
3 songs? Okay.
Yeah. Some of them are like projects I started and I could have, finished and then put them on, but I decided not.
Just decided not to.
Which similar reasons. Like I was like, this isn't gonna fit. It's what my idea of fitting was.
Yeah. How interesting. Okay. Yeah, and 3 isn't even that many songs to cut. You know, usually some people have like 10 songs they decide to just put to the side and make another EP. So, we are now on to the song Moon Eyes, which you wanted to talk about earlier. You said that you used the indie rock sample in this one as well.
Yep.
Something that was really cool about this track is on the chorus part. There's almost like a screaming synth. Kind of makes me think of like a screaming ghost or something. Where did that sound come from?
Yeah, so that's a Arturia CS80V. It's like this synthesizer that the plugin emulates this analog synth that was the synth Vangelis used on the soundtrack of Blade Runner, the entire Blade Runner. Yeah. So I'm messing around with that. I have that as a plugin, and that's the synth in there.
Okay.
I don't use it all the time, but I'll throw it in there every once in a while. I like it.
It's a good synth.
But yeah, I used it on that, and I liked how it turned out. But yeah, that track's I enjoyed a lot. I mostly made it for my partner. It's kind of like, all right, she has like Muna shape.
It might sound sappy, but it's true.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, maybe you can tell from these explanations, but there's a level of like meaning I want to give each beat, but at the same time, I kind of like a lazy or like. I don't know, maybe joking vibe. Yeah. I kind of want to keep things comical most of the time. Like, I don't want to, give you like a huge dissertation on why I made this minute-long beat. Like, I made a fucking beat. I'm just a dude. There's nothing special.
No, for sure, man. Absolutely. No, I think there's very, very, very few of us artists who actually sit down and think like calculate everything. This song's gonna be called this because it ties into this, and the bars over here. Like it's just stuff you come up with as you're walking in the studio. But it is interesting because sometimes there is some backstories to what we call the tracks and stuff like that. So where we get the inspiration from. Honestly, though, if you were to look at like my song names, like you'd be scratching your head. I was looking through them myself last night, and I have one that's called like it's like big R, small W, big O, big E, small L, and I was like, what was I thinking? I was like, what was I doing here? So it's all just like part of the process.
I know, yeah. I've totally been in a similar situation.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so the album wraps up with a song, Art et Voir. Art et Voir, yes. And I noticed that this one actually has a music video on YouTube.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that music video real quick.
So that's my friend Aiden. He's getting his haircut.
Yes.
It's mostly another thing. Yeah, he's a really good friend of mine. It's mostly funny. My some friends of mine started this record label called Cascadia Music Network, and they've been supporting me and Harbor Day and some other artists. Super cool. Yeah, I had no creative say in that. They just showed it to me. I was like, this is funny. These are all my friends. Fuck it. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Even though, I've had some mixed reactions to it. Like, ooh, cutting hair, that's like borderline really gross. I've heard.
What?
It's kind of weird. Yeah, but, yeah, no, I'm mostly, this is kind of bad sometimes, but I go with the flow, dude. Like, if someone put in work to something, like, I'm just going to
respect them, because they made it. Yeah, well, no, I mean, think for you and me both. I think we both think that way because, like, being artists, being creators, like, we know, like, how difficult it is to make something, and
Definitely.
how much fun it is to make something as well. And so if someone else did something, put in that work and that effort, it's kind of like, we'll respect, let's push this together. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool music video. I liked the angle of the shots, the blurry to the focus. I know you didn't have any creative say in it, but props to the guys who made the video because it was a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, and I did approve it. Like, but they've been making some serious videos. Shout out, seriously cool. Harbor Day has a video. I'm forgetting the title right now. No, I don't have. But it's a really cool track. You should check out the video they made for him. I really like.
Yep. Definitely. I can see they have some really good video skills for sure. Actually, another side note, and obviously I don't think that you or them knew about this. here in Korea specifically, they have like people have like a tradition of if they're going to like a new stage of their life or starting something new, they cut their hair or they get like a new hairstyle or something. So I thought it was kind of fitting.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like the wrap the album up with like the haircut. It was kind of like a new chapter for Ice Cream Cole, like a new sound or a new.
So awesome.
Yeah, right. So this
Makes a lot of sense.
exactly like even for stuff that we don't know the meaning behind, sometimes like it has a subconscious meaning to another person. So I thought I'd mention that. Anyway, that was the last track on the album, and so I was curious, like, did you make that intentionally as the last track? Obviously, Au revoir. If I'm not mistaken, that means like farewell.
Yes.
Okay.
It's misspelled purposefully.
Right. Go ahead, explain because I noticed that.
Yeah. Well, I like having like kind of inside jokes with all my beats, and now you guys get to be in on it. But
bring us in.
I
Let's go.
misspelled it the first time when it was just like a project file on my computer. I misspelled it. I don't remember how, but I think it's supposed to be spelled A-U and then R-E-V-O-I-R.
Yep.
Yeah. I spelled it like A-R-E. You know.
Yeah, it's like kind of messed up the spelling. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I sent the song to my friend Parker at Cascading Music Records, he was like, "Yeah, so what's the official misspelling of this song?" And so I changed it to that because it's like more intentionally misspelled.
Yeah, you wanted to be misspelled. I'm gonna misspell this. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's always better if you make like some kind of small mistake, just like blow it out of proportion to make it comical, make it funny. But yeah, did you make that one intentionally as the ending, or because the name was farewell, you wanted to put it as the ending? Like what was the order for that?
That's funny. That song definitely felt like some sort of transitioning was happening, like either an intro or an ending. And I didn't know, frankly, for a long time. But it just ended up working out to be the ending because I knew going into the track listing, I knew I wanted Rob to come first because I wanted something that got your attention really quick. And then like the rest just came like just trickled down from there.
Sure.
And then I knew I wanted that to be either the beginning or the end. So it fit in.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, no, it is. You made a great choice on the intro and the outro, and the songs are spaced really well. One more thing I noticed actually listening through the entire album, because I've listened through the entire album maybe 4 or 5 times by now.
I appreciate it,
dude. I love it, man. I really love it. The way the songs are positioned, the tracks and everything. A lot of them have very unconventional endings. Some of them just chop off like in the middle of a beat, and there's different ways to end the songs. Like, what is there any? How do you end a song normally? How do you like to end a song?
Yeah. Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I should probably think more about outros. I think it's really important to always keep learning and never. I mean, just stay humble. Basically, everyone thinks that, but and I don't know. I think I could learn more about how to end a song, but also at the same time, I like doing really drastic things, hence the drastic tempo changes. Wild Heart, hence the like drastic weird drums and Saita and like the drums in the beginning. And so sometimes I like to cut it off drastically. So you're just like, oh, we're here now.
Yep.
It's over. Okay. Yes. Sometimes it's intentional. I could probably learn to not do that.
No, I'm not complaining. I mean, I think it's cool. I was curious about that. Obviously, like you said, like outros get a little bit overlooked. A lot of people just say like, song's over. It doesn't matter how I end it. They already listened to it. It's done. But there's different ways to end a track, whether it's cutting it off abruptly or fading it out or slowly breaking down the instruments that you're using to like one instrument. There's different ways to end a track. So I was curious about your thoughts on that. Anyway, the album has released and it's been out for a while now. How do you feel about the reactions to the album? I'm curious about that.
So it's been mostly okay. It's different things. My friends have been really supportive. It's kind of always weird because I feel like, especially as in the place I am as a producer and in the place most of my peers are, it's this weird spot where when you release something, you want it to be like, oh my god, everyone loves it.
Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah. And sometimes numbers, a lot of the time, don't reflect that. And that's a funny thing, because, how do I say this? Like, obviously you would probably want to see number day one, but not realistic. And ultimately, it takes a long time for things to flourish unless you put in a ton of money for promotion, or you're lucky, or maybe you just are. It is just super great, and somehow it's
you
crazy.
get that attention. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so I understand my position in the world and in especially the music world, and I'm pretty happy with how it's received. Like, some of my friends have bought the album, and some random people like it, and that's all I can ask for.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Congrats. No, I'm glad that other people appreciate it as well, because it is such a solid body of work. And for us as artists, like, we put so much time into our art, we spend so much time on it that it's cool when other people can appreciate it as well, for sure. So how do you feel creatively? For some people, when they finish making a project, whether it's an album or an EP or a single, like, they feel like, okay, I need to take some break away from the studio. Other people want to jump right back into making music. Where are you at creatively on that kind of spectrum?
Yeah, so I like to stay really consistent, not in the sense that probably most people are thinking. Tons of people are like, you need to make beats like every day. If you want to be good, every day, as much as you can, like grind time. Let's go.
Today for 5 summers.
Yeah. For me, that gets old really fast, and I think it's important to do something musically every day. Some quick background: my college major is related to audio, civic. So, and honestly, I feel like I'm doing stuff every day, no matter what. Like, I don't have a choice. I'm doing some sound-related stuff, learning about audio and sound every day. And I feel like that's pretty good some days, I mostly like to more focus it instead on learning, or like read a few articles or watch a few YouTube videos, learn something new. I think it's important to stay humble, like I said. Even whatever. Like, I have a friend my producer friend Barnes Boulevard is really like good place as far as popularity and where he wants to be as a musician, and he still like is always learning. So it's just humbled me even seeing how he does, and other artists too. But as far as right now, I have a few beats that I made. I probably like 4 or something like that, and maybe I have a bunch of the cut tracks that I want to do something with them, even though they didn't make on here. Some of them are actually completely done, like finished. But I just didn't.
You put it as a single in a few weeks or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Also, there's the other thing with, like, do I really want to release something right after this? Like, even though I have tracks that I could release, like, I could, but maybe, I don't know. It's always like a weird debate that mostly I struggle with, and no one else needs to care about.
No, but it takes time to decide what you want to do with certain projects. It's not uncommon, actually. I'm not sure how many of the listeners are familiar with this, but it's not uncommon for a lot of us producers to make something and not put it out till like a year after it's actually been finished. Like the amount of time between finishing YouTube, right? Exactly, man. I know. For me also, like, I'll get a song finished, then because of other things, like whether it's like looking for a label, or whether it's like putting the finishing touches on it, or I just don't have an opportunity to, like, stuff gets delayed, and so we have projects sitting on the shelf like 1, sometimes 2 years before it actually gets released to the public. So it happens. Also, Riley, I wanted to ask you this because like you mentioned, like, your major at a university is related to music. You make music as a producer. Is that, like, difficult for you to be around music all the time, or is it rather like a beneficial thing because you never leave that world?
I would say it's like the best of both worlds. It keeps me really humble, because when you're in a whole like class in school of people who are here to do music, and you're doing introductions, say it's like day 1, and the guy to your right's like, music is my thing. It's been my thing for this entire, and then the dude to your left saying the same thing, like, you start to realize, like, like, maybe, maybe it isn't just my thing. Like, you start to kind of see, like, the ocean that you're in. And it humbles you. I mean, that's how I respond. Like, all right, like, I don't know that much. Like, I could always learn more. I should just listen and because some people will come to these classes and they'll be like, oh, like, I'm this DJ, I play these festivals, so I know how to record like a band. I can do that. Like, they're not the same thing at all. Like, you don't know what you're doing in a huge mixer, like whatever, the Trident board. You're not gonna be able to record this. Yeah, I think people it's yeah, I don't know, just stay humble.
Yeah, no, dude. No, I agree 100%. It's so interesting that whenever you put in those situations, like it does for me as well, like it makes me turn more inwards. I start becoming more humble. Like, oh snap, like there's so much I don't know. There's so much room for growth still. I think that in our entire lives, like we're always learning and growing as long as we want to, because like it's interesting. But here's the way I think about it. Like at this level in our lives, like all we know is this level of stuff. But like once we get on top of that level, like there's all this other stuff we can learn, and it keeps like building. You know, like we don't know what we don't know.
Exactly. Unknown. No.
Exactly. So it's important to like to stay humble and stay hungry because like you know there's always someone better. There's always something new to explore and discover. So it is really really cool. All right, Riley. If I could ask you, please leave a message to the you of 1 year in the future.
Stay consistent as you're doing fuck. I'm saying this so bad. Really, keep doing what you're doing. Keep staying humble. It's great. And music's important. But you know, other things are important too. Yeah.
Stay balanced.
I'm so bad at coming up with shit.
All right, man. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I'm going to be tagging you in 1 year to show you this video.
There we go.
All right, man. As you know already, at the end of every episode, we always do a speed round. I'll ask a very quick question. You give a very quick response. You've done it before. It's going to be an updated version. We'll compare to see how many of the answers are the same and how many are different. Are you ready?
Oh, they're going to be different.
All right. All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Favorite color?
Green.
Favorite food?
Oh, shit. I don't know, but I'm just going to say taco.
Okay. Favorite day of the week?
Wednesday, because it's boring.
Favorite movie?
Shit. I would probably say Tron, because that's probably what I said.
And it is. Favorite song at the moment?
Oh, fuck. I really like this beat by Swum called Fuji.
Okay, fantastic. What's your guilty pleasure?
Okay, I've been playing a lot of StarCraft 2 lately.
Oh, wow. What countries do you want to visit?
I really want to visit Iceland, and then I've also go back to Japan and Korea, actually.
Fantastic. What languages do you speak?
I mostly speak English, but I took Japanese for a while, so I can speak really shitty Japanese.
Name one person alive or dead that you want to have a conversation with.
Famous producer. Riley, think of a famous producer. Any famous producer. I would love to talk to them.
Fantastic. And how do you want people to think of you?
Laid back. Fun loving, I don't know.
Fantastic. All right. Riley, man, thank you so much for coming on today, man. Is there any last words you want to say to the audience listening?
Actually, dude, I want to do a shout out to Ben. Thanks so much. Thanks. Your work is amazing. I don't think you get enough credit. Yeah.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. No, I love sharing people's stories. So I'm just really appreciative of you to jump on here, walk us through every single track. That was incredible, man. That was incredible. Now every time I go back to listen to the album, I'm gonna know all the behind-the-scenes stories. It's gonna have that much more meaning to me, guys. You have to listen to it. You really, really have to listen to it. I'm gonna be giving the links in the description box. Throw some of the music on the background. You guys already know it's completely awesome. I don't lie to you guys, and you know that. So please check out Ice Cream Cult. Give them some support. Give them some love. And I will see you in the next episode of the podcast. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Take care and goodbye. Hey guys, Ben Jaye here. It is so good to be back with this episode of the podcast with special guest Ice Cream Cold. Riley's an incredible guy, and I loved making this episode, and I want to thank you guys for watching it. Of course, if you guys could, please consider helping me out by sending me some donations on Ko-fi right here, or on my PayPal. Send me a donation on PayPal. Either way works fantastically. I would really appreciate it. Even more excitingly, I want to talk to you guys for a minute about my Patreon. I recently launched Patreon, and there's so many cool things on there. Just to name a few: unreleased songs, project files, a private vlog, a sneak peek at upcoming projects, early looks at stuff. There's so many cool things to unlock on there, guys. And so if you could consider donating to me, becoming a donor, you can unlock those the different levels of content on there. And I'm trying to make it as interesting as possible for you guys. So give it a look. Tell me if you're interested. Please consider donating, and I'll see you on the next piece of content. Much love.